Hi everyone, today we'll talk about dilations. So dilation is one of our types of transformations. Remember last class we talked about translations and reflections. So today we're going to talk about what a dilation is. Dilation is a change in side by enlarging or reducing something. So if we look at this picture here, we have a toy version versus the real version. So a lot of times when they build a new car, they take a model version and then they enlarge it so it looks exactly the same. That would be considered a dilation. All right, let's look at this in terms of graphs. So here we have a pre-image, right? KLNN. So what we want to do is dilate this with a scale factor of 2. Right? So a scale factor of 2. What that means is we're going to take each ordered pair and multiply by 2. So let's start with K. K is at that ordered pair -4, 4. If we take each of those values and multiply it by 2, we end up with -8, 8. I'm going to do the same thing for L. L is currently at 4, 4. If I were to multiply that by 2, I would end up with 8 and 8 again. And then N is at 4, -4. So if I were to multiply those values by 2, I would end up with 8, -8. And then lastly, point N is at -4, -4. And if I were to multiply both of those by 2, we would end up with an ordered pair of -8, -8. Now we can go ahead and graph each of those 4 points. And our new rectangle will look like this. So we have made our rectangle larger. Okay? So when we're multiplying by a scale factor of a number that's greater than 1, okay, then it makes it bigger. All right, now, what happens if we multiply by a scale factor of a number that's less than 1? Right? It's still positive if you notice, but it's a fraction this time. Right? Well, so we have to remember what it means to multiply by a fraction. So let's not forget that multiplying something by 1/4 is the same as dividing by 4. So same thing we did before, we're going to take our 4 points and we're going to, this time, divide each one by 4. So P is at the point -4, -4. If I divide both of those by 4, I end up at -1, -1. For Q, that point is at -4, 4. If I divide both of those by 4, we end up at -1, 1. And for R, that point is currently at 8, 8. If I divide both of those by 4, we're now at 2, 2. And then for point S, that point currently is at 8, 0. So when I divide both of those by 4, we end up at 2, 0. So when we go to actually graph that, it's going to look like this. Now remember that the way that the axes are labeled are by 2's. Okay, so pay attention to how your axes are labeled when you go to graph them. Also make sure that you go back. It wasn't done on here, but make sure you go back and label each of those corners. So if I were to go ahead and label this one here, oh, it is labeled, would be K prime, K prime, this would be L prime, M prime, and N prime. Okay, so make sure we go back and label them. This would be Q prime, R prime, S prime, and P prime. Okay, that is it for today's notes. It was a very basic one. So you guys now have 2 try on your own problems. All right, so make sure to get those done, and I will see you in class next time.